All right, we are now live. Welcome to another barn-burning episode of Star Trek Neutral Zone. We're using the Star Trek Adventures role-playing game rules, and I figure let's just start off. Each of you introduce yourself and your character and what we're doing on Starbase 23. So we'll start with we'll start at the top of the chain of command with Commander Stiles and Ben.
Yes, Commander Stiles is unique among Star Trek commanders in that he has a big old mustache, and he's I kind of feel like he's been through a whole bunch, so he probably just comes across as a person who's, maybe on that list of, I'm getting too old for this crap, kind of thing, where he's really thinking about that. But he really likes to get people together and get to know them, make sure they can work well together. He of course, he was in the Cardassian War, and he's pretty. Well, I think he's the only human, maybe. I don't remember how many humans we had, but. Let's see. Boy, it's been a while since I've built him. I probably should have looked this up a little bit more. So let's see now. He's got a family tradition. He's had with war with the Romulans. There was a Stiles in the Balance of Terror episode. So he's related to those Stiles. He's got kind of a Murphy's Law, shit happens kind of thing by now. So if he seems to be very genre savvy, I thought that worked out pretty well. If he's just like, we could be mind controlled people. Let's make sure we're not mind controlled. Does anybody have any stuff sticking out of their neck? Things like that. So,
all right, cool.
Yeah, thanks. I think that's all I got right now.
All righty, let's go down to our human chief of security, played by Miguel.
Yeah, his name is Dietrich Holm. Basically, looks like Michael Fassbender playing the role. And he is, of course, the chief of security. No-nonsense sort of guy coming from what would be considered the sticks of the Federation and the frontier. Family tried to raise him up to be an artist, never really understood art. Instead, decided to just have, go out and explore, which, of course, leads to Starfleet. And all of that, which led to him becoming an officer of Starfleet, and here in Starbase 23.
And last but not least tonight, our resident Andorian. Go ahead, Paul.
Yeah, this is Lieutenant Thelev. He's very young Andorian Lieutenant JG in engineering, very sort of focused on his work. Doesn't associate much with anybody else, although he's trying to get over that. I've no doubt that the Admiral on the Starbase, who's been helping him out so far, will try and get him to associate more with his colleagues. Yeah, that's about it. Just think Chekhov, but blue.
All right. So last month when we played, we started the episode just moments before things went to red alert, and you guys were approached by a strange alien craft traveling at high warp directly at the station. Basically, you guys discovered that you used a tractor beam to stop this unknown craft. You beamed aboard to find out that it had scanned your minds and presented holograms based on your memories. You made your way to the bridge and found that the vessel was operated by a malfunctioning artificial intelligence called Salvation 10. You managed to repair it and explained that it preserves life forms that are on the precipice of cataclysm. But before it could explain exactly what it meant and why it might be interested in you guys beamed back to the station, and it went to high warp, and it was off on its way. Tonight's session is going to be a little bit different in that we're not going to start in the middle of a crisis like we did last time. Today we're going to start kind of a normal work day on Starbase 23. And so you guys can tell me what your characters are doing, what your duties are, and how you are spending your time on an average work day on Starbase 23. So any of you that care to start out, go right ahead.
Okay, well, I think Commander Stiles likes his group team building exercises, so I suspect he will be, in a not. I think we talked about whether or not we're having a holodeck, but I assume that there is some kind of starship simulator on board, and he's probably going through an attack the station. Trial, just something to keep people shipboard skills, keep them sharp on their ship course, keep the people who are be defending the station to do nice drills for them in defending themselves against that.
Yeah, so if you want to run kind of a training drill, the Starbase 23 is on the Romulan neutral zone. It would make sense that maybe if you're running some sort of simulation of a Romulan attack.
That sounds pretty good. And so I would like to see him as probably in charge of the either him in charge of the ship, or perhaps Dietrich the ship, and then the other one of them, of course, would take the drill from the side of the Starbase 23.
Okay. Yeah. What are you guys thinking as far as a combat simulation? How do you guys respond to drills?
Yep, makes sense to me.
I guess I would respond well to drills and all that, so I'll be on the TACCOM station.
Cool. Yeah, so that would make sense if, Lieutenant Commander Holm, you would be in ops on Starbase 23. You'd be at the tactical station, and Lieutenant Thelev, where would you like to be?
In this case, probably in ops as well. I'd like to get some experience in ops, dealing with the engineering console and that kind of thing up there.
All right, cool. Yeah, an engineering console. Also, probably sensors within arm's reach if you needed to use those as well. So, yep. Commander Stiles, describe for me this drill that you're running.
Okay, so there's a section where we have to figure out what some ghosts are on the sensors that might be a potential Romulan attack fleet, and probably something to add spice to it is, so maybe there's 6 different images and only 3 of them are actual ships. So they're also kind of Romulan vessels, but indicating which ones are really Romulan vessels and which ones are just echoes of the simulation. So they, of course, are going to try to get into a firing position before the sensors can keep the base protected.
Okay. So how about we have Lieutenant Thelev run some sensor sweeps then?
Sure. I'm just looking up how to do that.
And because we're talking about cloaked vessels, ordinarily, sensor sweep would be a difficulty 1 task. This is going to be difficulty 2, and you can be aided by the station's computers, which I will roll for, and I'll let you know if you get a success there.
What am I rolling?
This would be, I would say, reason plus con.
Okay, so that's an 11. I don't have any focuses in that, so we'll have an 11 and a 14, so that's just the 1 success here.
Okay, and the station's computers give you another success. So you are able to determine that there are, several, maybe 6 different sensor echoes out there that could be cloaked vessels, and you're able to sort of narrow down the areas of where the 3 actual, the 3 simulated vessels are.
Okay, I'll report that to the commander then.
Commander Stiles, do you have further orders?
Okay, so are we all in ops then against this this attacking Romulan fleet then? This attacking simulation?
Yes.
Or am I on a simulator? What's the?
I'm sorry.
Am I on the? Am I on ops as well, or am I kind of running the Romulans for this?
Yeah, I would say. I mean, well, you tell me. The way I would imagine it is, you guys are either on a holodeck, or you're actually in ops, and you've got sort of algorithms running your enemies. But if you would like to be in charge of the Romulans, I think that'd be cool. Your call.
Okay. Yeah, I like the idea that he's in a standard Starfleet uniform. He's on simulator for controlling the Romulans, and the only thing that's Romulan about him though is that he's got the Romulan the Romulan helmet, which is something he's had passed down through the generations or whatever, and he'll definitely acknowledge the signal that they believe they have going on as far as defending themselves, and he will start firing, uncloaking, followed by more, in such a way that they still can't tell exactly how many there are.
Yeah, so rather than kind of following all of the Starship combat rules that are in the book, since this is a simulation, I figured we'd sort of narrate it. So now you've got at least 3 Romulan warbirds that are controlled by your commander, who's testing you guys in ops, and they're decloaking and firing and cloaking again. Another one kind of swoops in, decloaks, fires, cloaks back up. So let's jump to Lieutenant Commander Holm, and you're sitting there at the tactical station following all this action. How are you responding?
Well, obviously, since I have the ability to identify starships and all that, I figured I would be looking at the most opportune moment to retaliate against those Romulan warbirds. Since they have to lower their shields to cloak, the best sort of attack would be to actually hit them as they are about to enter into cloaking. So it's more along the lines of a waiting game and trying to respond when they appear.
Okay.
So coordinating with Thelev.
So because timing is so important, how about we try to create an advantage? And that is, and you can narrate whatever advantage that might be that's going to allow you to sort of anticipate when these Romulans are going to drop out of their cloak. It'll be a difficulty 2 task, and I'll let you sort of figure out what that task is and how you create this advantage.
I'll see if I can do that with the sensors. I'll try another sensor sweep and just see if I can... what would I do? Use the successes from that to create the advantage.
Well, yes, you could be trying to figure out the ENGIN signatures of the Romulan warbirds. Compare that to the false readings we get on the sensor sweep.
Okay. Do you want me to do that?
Yeah, and Lieutenant Holm can assist on Lieutenant Holm can assist on this as well. So both of you can be rolling on it.
Do you want me to treat that as a sensor roll or a create advantage then?
It would be, so it's a difficulty 2 sensor roll.
Okay.
And if you succeed, you will have created your advantage.
I'll be rolling command insight for this, so let's see.
What's that?
Command insight, as I'm trying to coordinate with Thelev.
Okay, yeah.
And I got 2 5s.
You just roll 1 as an assist roll.
Okay, yeah. Then I got 1 5.
Okay, that's a success.
So I've got a success from there. I'm going for... Sorry about that. Some dry throat.
That's
I'm going, wasn't it? Which is a 13, so 16 and a 13, so 1 success, unfortunately.
Okay, well, you combined with the assist from Lieutenant Commander Holm, you get your 2 successes that you need, and you create this advantage that it's going to allow you guys to coordinate to fire precisely when these warbirds drop out of their cloak.
Okay.
So let's jump back real quick to Commander Stiles. What's going on with the warbirds?
Yeah, so they're the very nice D-Deridex class ships that they're nice and green and are powered by different things than antimatter. And I assume that with all the scans going on, that there's probably some nice indications on the screen when these Romulans uncloak of a kind of crosshairs almost, as you guys are detecting them, and they continuing their cloaking and recloaking, and at least at some point in there, one of them will be a ghost image that you'll be able to say, okay, that's just an echo. So don't use, obviously don't fire on that and waste weapons on that. And then just to throw it in there, I've always liked the old plasma torpedoes. So maybe one of the attacks actually fires like a plasma torpedo that's going to envelop the base.
Yeah, cool. Okay, how about give me control plus security, Commander Stiles, with difficulty 2.
And what does having combat tactics and evasive action do for me?
Whichever one you want to choose, that increases your crit range to whatever your discipline number or lower is. Then becomes a crit and gives you 2 successes instead of 1.
Oh, excellent. All right, so security 3, control 11, so it looks like a 14. I'm getting the wrong dice roller here. There it is. So I'm rolling 2d20. I rolled a 16 and an 8, so that's 1 success.
So it was difficulty 2, because you're firing a ranged energy weapon with these various craft. So you get like a really near miss. This plasma torpedo, simulated plasma torpedo, detonates close to the station and sort of rocks the deck a little bit, but ultimately does no harm. So we'll cut back to Lieutenant Thelev and Lieutenant Commander Holm, as you guys are coordinating, working together in this very tense situation, trying to figure out which of these warbirds are real and which are just sensor echoes, and when is the perfect moment to hit that fire button.
So we're trying to create another advantage again.
No, I mean, you've created the advantage, but you guys can,
okay,
if you like, you can sort of narrate how it is you're figuring out exactly when to fire.
Well, I guess from the sensors, I'm trying to figure out which of the, I think it was 6 so-called warbirds are actually real. There might be 3 of them. So I'm trying to see if I can fine-tune the sensors and see if I can pick up one of the warbirds just before it decloaks. So we've got that 1 or 2 second advantage to try and get a shot in.
Yeah, absolutely. Conduct that sensor sweep. And it'll be difficulty 1, and if you are successful, then it will lower the difficulty of Lieutenant Commander Holm's shot.
Okay, am I getting an assist from the station?
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank
you for reminding me. This time you're not getting help from the station.
It happens. Okay, so we've got an 8 and a 9. So that should be 2 successes.
Yes, sir. So that generates a point of momentum.
Cool.
And you now have a solid weapons lock on the warbirds.
I would say feel free to use that momentum to fire at them.
Okay, so I'll be rolling a 3d20, and it is going to be a security. And what is the daring?
Nope, it'll be control plus security.
Control plus security. Okay, thank you.
And it's only going to be difficulty 1 because of this really solid sensor lock you have. And if you want to spend that point of momentum, as Thelev suggested, then you can roll 3 d20s.
Okay, cool. I am spending that point.
Okay, cool.
Nine, 5, 9, and I had to be under a 12.
Okay, so you
3
generate
successes.
2 points of momentum. So with such a perfectly timed shot, describe for me how you send out this barrage of weaponry to destroy these 3 Romulan warbirds as they come in and out of cloak around the station.
Well, technically, we'll just say it was one shot that hit one of the warbirds, and one of them was close enough that the other one got hit. And also, Thelev was able to shoot off and take off the third warbird, so they all got hit. Like that. So it was a team effort.
Yeah, so like one warbird gets hit and sort of collides into another, and then Lieutenant Thelev was able to use a secondary phaser ray to take care of the third. And so all of a sudden the red alert klaxons stop, the simulation is over, and I imagine Commander Stiles would have some sort of evaluation for how his ops crew performed.
That looks like you made short work of those Romulans. I think we're officially rated at maybe 10 warbirds now, based on what I've been seeing so far. I think you guys are, I don't know, I think we're manning these sensor stations exactly where we need to be to deal with the latest technology advancements with the Romulans. Well done. Well done.
Thank you, Commander. If there's anything else, I think I should dismiss myself.
I'm thinking luck was a factor as well. we obviously need more practice if we're going to build up to 10 warbirds.
Yes, and that's the big difficulty that Starfleet is concerned with, is that they will into thinking that they're attacking from one direction versus another. So we have to be able to ammunition as well. So, but yeah, I guess we'll be doing another one here next. So far we're doing pretty good.
Yeah, so ops is this large kind of circular room, and in the middle is a situation table with kind of a holographic representation of the space surrounding the starbase, and that's where I imagine most of the action would have been happening during this scene. There's also sort of a large circular computer readout screen that goes kind of along the outside walls all the way around that can give you kind of a 360-degree view of what's going on outside the station. And at this point, this rather stern-looking Vulcan with captain's pips on his collar kind of steps forward, and he indicates Lieutenant Thelev in particular, and he says, I agree with your assessment, Lieutenant, that luck had a lot to do with this victory. In Temec of the USS Griffin.
Thank you, Captain. I think we performed admirably. We performed admirably, but it's also something we need to practice at.
Readiness on.
We need to get that handoff between sensors and tactical down to fine-tuned.
Yes, readiness along the neutral zone is, of course, of paramount importance. But your ability to work the sensor station was adequate. The Griffin is currently docked with the Starbase, undergoing recalibration of its sensors. Perhaps you would care to assist.
Definitely. I'd be honored.
Please report to the bridge of the Griffin at your earliest convenience. which I guess is literally right now.
Good luck, fellows.
I think I may need it.
All right, we'll cut to either of you guys. What are you guys going to do now that the Commander Stiles or Lieutenant Commander Holm? What are you guys up to now that the drill is over?
Well, I'll let you do yours since we're probably still on the bridge or on the ops section.
I guess it's going to be more along the lines of having to attend the child's recital and me being like, okay, I have to be there even though I cannot stand this sort of music. And since it's Star Trek, they're always playing something like Chopin or some piano thing. I'd probably be what? Shostakovich, Siege of Leningrad is always the first one that comes into mind. And me and the wife are sitting there listening, happy that our kid is able to do this. So yeah.
So I didn't realize Lieutenant Commander Holm was a family man. Describe your wife and child.
Well, obviously, taking station. Well, obviously, I took the duty on the station because having a family on a ship is pretty much a double-edged dagger. It's a lot more sedentary on a station. So yes, the wife is, of course, around my age. Let me get to a name generator here. Ooh. Oh yes, her name is Danielle. I have a child who is 8 years old. Let us see. Go with Kingsley?
Kinsley?
Awesome.
I like it.
Yeah. It's like Ben Kingsley.
Okay. So your child is performing at this recital and doing wonderfully, and your heart is swelling with pride. All of a sudden, in the middle of one of the most delicate parts of this beautiful piece of music, kind of a scrawny yet very kind of flamboyantly gesticulating Ferengi kind of intrudes into the middle of this recital, and he says, "I need the chief of security. There's been an assault. There's been an assault."
And then I go and excuse myself and go with the Ferengi outside. How may I help you?
Even as you're sort of ushering him back outside of the recital hall, he's still sort of shouting, I'm the victim of an assault. I need to talk with you, Holm. I need to speak with you now.
Okay. What happened?
It's that Klingon that runs that music club on the concourse. I've been assaulted.
How so? I begin to walk with him.
His house band, they play this, what do they call it? Rock and roll music. His house band, he named the house band the Dead Ferengi. And I know he's indicating me. He's threatening me.
Well then, I guess I gotta hold back a smile on that because that is just hilarious. But it's more along the lines of, okay, how can I be sort of diplomatic to let him know about in Klingon culture? There's a sort of middle thing about that, like, you know, about how there's actually an actual group of people that wear Klingon masks called Stovacor here. And they just try to pick names that sound very metal. So it's not at this poor Ferengi here, whose name is...
Grelka. My name is Grelka. I'm the proprietor of one of the restaurants on the concourse. The Starview Cafe. Of course you've heard of it.
Oh, yes, Grelka. So... Well, I don't believe is that it was a slight against you. Last I checked, the owner of that place actually has no qualms with you and is actually pretty much enjoying the competition he has with you, Roka.
No qualms. He named his band the Dead Ferengis. Give me a command task, please.
Presence plus what?
Presence plus command.
Plus command. Okay. Seven plus 7 and 9, and I needed to roll under a 12.
A 7 and a 9, and you needed a 12?
I needed to roll under a 12, so...
Okay, so yeah, you get 2 successes. The Ferengi gets 1, so he seems to kind of calm down a little bit. Okay, well, I'll let it slide a little bit longer, but I'm telling you, if he threatens me again, or if I see him come into my restaurant, or otherwise lift a finger in my direction, I'll have your scalp, Lieutenant Commander.
I believe is that Starfleet will ensure that there will be peaceful cooperations between your establishment and his. If anything,
sure.
I'll have a word with him.
Starfleet always says that. You just see that you do. And he stomps off. But it appears that you've otherwise avoided any sort of huge scene out here on the concourse of the Starbase.
Yep. It's always something with Grelka.
Okay, we'll cut to Commander Stiles. What are you doing now that the drill is over?
In the Sonic Tower, getting ready for his shift as a actual on-duty commander. Kind of doing his thing on his spare time. But yeah, so he's getting washed up and sets his helmet, his family heirloom there in a case that like levitates it kind of in place, and gets his uniform on, adds his pips, and I guess we'll show that he shaves his stubble down, except of course on the nice mustache there with some kind of sonic kind of shaving device, and then he'll be heading back to be in ops.
Back to ops? Okay.
Yeah.
So it sounds like Commander Stiles leads maybe kind of a solitary sort of life.
That's a good question. Yeah, I think he was more of a... I mean, he was... I don't actually have an idea of if he had a wife or not. Since that didn't come up in my background, I guess not. I guess he's always kind of looking, but then he kind of ends up moving to another planet before too long, before he gets too close to anybody.
So you report back to ops, and as the elevator doors swish open, you step out into ops, and there is a young ensign standing there. It says, Commander, there's someone waiting for you in your ready room. I asked if she had an appointment. She didn't really say one way or another. I didn't feel like I could stop her. She just went straight into your ready room.
Can you tell me more about who it is? Is it the Admiral?
Oh, no, sir. I would definitely know the Admiral. I didn't recognize this woman, sir. I think maybe she's Romulan?
Almost sounds like the start of a joke here. Let me go in there and find out who this person is then. I appreciate your time, Ensign.
You can tell me.
Crusher.
Well, the Klingons like named the Thrusher, I think. So I don't know if we. It might make
I'm
confused.
kind of with you, Paul.
All right, Crusher it is. Crusher, you're not... No, never mind. All right, so Romulan's on board, and they just let her into my room. Okay, right into the ready room.
She wasn't
Well,
wearing... She wasn't wearing a military uniform. She was in civilian clothes. I'm not totally certain that she was a Romulan. It's not like I asked, but it looked that way to me.
Thank you, Ensign. I think you'll find in the Starfleet protocols, think about spies and so forth being allowed in certain sensitive areas. He'll be a little gruff, and he'll go there assuming, you know, obviously they wouldn't have let her on with a weapon, and so he'll go to his ready room with a
Yeah, just as you're about to step away,
smile on his face.
This Ensign Crusher, who's obviously very green, maybe fresh out of the academy, says, did I handle that poorly, sir?
Yes. Page 23, I think you'll see the proper way of doing it.
I'll look it up right away, sir.
Little notes like, okay, so who do we leave in ops when we switch out of you know, the AM group to the PM group or whatever we're doing. Okay,
yeah, beta shift,
well,
shift or whatever.
Head to the ready room and have a smile on my face, but also, you know, think in the back of my head, you know, this person could be a shifter or anything crazy, so I'll have my eyes wide open for anything that looks out of place.
Yeah, your ready room doors swish open, and you can see that there is what looks to be a Romulan woman, kind of with like the bowl color, the bowl haircut, with you know, dark color ears and small forehead ridges. But she's wearing kind of a dark tunic, definitely not military issue. And she's standing in front of your desk as you step in, and she turns and she says, Commander Stiles, I presume. I'm told you're the person I need to talk to about getting a permit to make regular freighter runs in this part of the Beta Quadrant.
Oh, well, there's I have a whole office right for just such a new member of our trades guild here. Yes, we could definitely work on that. Here, I'll take out my pad. Let me see when I can talk a little bit more about this. I do have some things I need to do in ops. Today, and I'll send you the form, and it's pretty self-explanatory at this point. And then we can have our interview at that time. And unless there's anything I need to know right now.
Well, Commander, my name is Captain Casia. I'm a freighter captain. I was hoping we might be able to expedite this process.
I see. Well, I mean, the process is there for a good reason. What is who are your contacts with the on the Federation side? Very important step in.
Well, let's just say that my Romulan citizenship is no longer valid. I'm no longer a citizen of the Star Empire, and I am eager to begin a new life. But beyond that, my story is not one that I see as any of your business. And she offers you a pad. She says, I think you'll find my citizenship bona fides are all in order.
Well, that would be very surprising to me. In this side of the galaxy, if it's all in order, I'd be very impressed. But she's got there and see if I have any immediate questions. I browse over it.
Yeah, she seems totally impatient, kind of huffy.
Do you have a course plan for your what routes you'll be?
I would be just making regular trading runs from Klingon space along the Romulan Federation neutral zone up to the planet. Oh, let's see if I can. Meridian. If there's anything I can do to put your mind at ease, I know that there are obviously political tensions at play here, but I think you'll find that I'm just a freighter captain trying to make a new life for myself in obviously this very just federation of yours.
Well, we're happy to have any peaceful trade to go through here. It seems like everything I see here is checking out for now. Probably get the permit out to you at the end of the day if everything is in this good order. I again say how much I appreciate you beforehand. That should make this an expedited process. Be in your ship, or will you be elsewhere?
I will be in my ship.
With you.
I will be in my ship, the Apnex cruiser. Awaiting your word, Commander.
Very good. Well, I appreciate meeting you, Captain Kasia.
Kasia, yep.
Kasia.
And she says rather coldly, "I assure you, the pleasure has been mine."
I will escort her kindly out of the area where I probably don't like being, and wave goodbye to her with as much a smile as I can.
Cool. All right. We will cut back to Lieutenant chSirch, who is now on board the USS Griffin, an Akira class starship that is docked inside the large sort of mushroom part of this huge space dock style starbase. Currently undergoing some refits. It's a new ship. It's just about to start patrolling along the neutral zone. We want everything to be tip top in ship shape, in Bristol fashion.
Okay. Well, once I've beamed on board, I'll report to the chief engineer or whoever the senior engineering officer is.
He is kind of a gruff Tellarite, and he says, "I assume Captain Tamek told me that you'd be coming on board. We need these sensors being able to scan deep into the delta or into the neutral zone, and I was told that you're the guy for the job. So please be my guest."
I'm at your disposal, sir.
Well, then snap to it.
Okay.
Captain Tamek ordered you here, not me.
Okay, I'll go and find whoever's working on the sensors at the moment and have a chat with them, offer my assistance.
Yeah, cool. So basically, you were able to find, a sensor station on the bridge of this Akira class starship, and it looks to you like they need to be the sensors just need to be recalibrated.
Okay, I will get to work on that. Chances are, at some point, I'm going to rub somebody up the wrong way, because that's just what I do.
All right. So yeah, as you are setting about your work, this Tellarite, this engineer, is sort of you see that he's found an excuse to kind of move a little bit closer to you on the bridge, so you can kind of peer over your shoulder at what you're doing.
I'm not keen on Tellarites, but I've been told that I need to be polite, so I'll just turn to. Can I help you at all, sir?
This is a new ship.
It is, sir.
Lieutenant,
I understand that.
Everything is very delicate. I hope you know what you're doing.
Of course I do, sir. I will double check everything with you if you like, but otherwise I'm going to get on with my work. If that's all right with you, sir.
Please do. And he kind of gets up behind you and kind of puts a hand on the back of your chair. You can sort of hear him breathing as you work.
It's all, sir. I think you'll find that I've got this all in hand at the moment. I don't believe I'll need any supervision, but I will check with you when the work is done.
I believe there's an old Earth proverb, trust but verify.
There's an old Andorian proverb as well. Leave me alone to do my job.
That borders on insubordination, Lieutenant.
Merely comparing proverbs, sir.
Give me a presence plus command task, please.
Oh, I was afraid you were going to say that. That's going to be a 12. 12 and a 9.
Okay, so he also got 2 successes. And so you guys are sort of in a standoff. Which of you would you say is being the more aggressive here?
I would say probably me.
Okay.
He
sort of spins you around.
He's going to be aggressive.
Yeah, he totally is. He sort of spins you around in your chair, and then he stares at you, and you almost wonder if he's going to hit you. And then he sort of thrusts out his sort of furry hand, and he says, I like a lieutenant with a little backbone.
Good. Can I get back to work now, sir?
Please, please. Just make sure you get those sensors working ship-shape and Bristol fashion.
Will do, sir. I'll let you know once it's done.
Mm-hmm.
I think my attitude is works pretty well with Tellarites, but nobody else.
Yeah, so go ahead and give me, I don't know, what makes sense to you to recalibrate sensors on a new ship?
Oh, I'm thinking probably, well, sensors are normally handled by either security or science, so I'll go for my science. So reason plus science. That gives me the high roll.
Works for me.
So that's a 14.
This will just be difficulty 1.
Okay. So I'm looking for 14. I've got a 17 and a 14. So like, just squeak that one.
Yeah, that'll work.
Maybe I'm not quite as good as I think I am.
So maybe it takes you a couple tries, and as it's sort of taking you longer than you thought it would, you see this Tellarite engineer. Oh, I'm sorry. This Tellarite chief engineer, he returns and he's kind of hovering over you and he's kind of checking the chronometer, but you get it done. And
just being cautious, sir, which I should have done actually, because I've got that as a trade. Oh well.
Well, with these new ships, caution is warranted, especially when you have time to take care of it in a starbase. My name is Commander Bragg Narkmush.
Good to meet you, sir.
Yeah, well, Captain Temek is actually a pretty good scout for talent. So I apologize if I was giving you too much of a hard time. I just had to make sure that you were someone I could allow to have your hands on my sensors on my ship.
Not at all, sir. In your position, it's to be expected that you want to keep an eye on everybody.
All right. Well, I hope to see you aboard the Griffin again sometime.
Thank you, sir. I'll head back to the Starbase now.
Indeed. Is there anything else that you guys want to do? You've got this big Starbase to explore. Is there any part of it that you'd like to see or do? Ball's in your court.
I'm not big into socializing, but I do want to take a look at some of the sensor readings and tricorder readings from our encounter with that alien ship. They've got pretty cool holograms.
Absolutely. You could go to Ops and kind of review some of the sensor logs if you like.
Yeah, I'll just see whatever I can find from them.
Cool. That'll be some kind of computer task. What sort of information are you looking for?
I'm interested in 2 things. I mean, first of all, the holograms were very good. I would say they're at least on a par with Starfleet, if not better. The other thing is I'm interested about how they managed to pull those images from our minds. Is there any sort of clue in there that might tell us how they've done that?
Yeah, go ahead and give me a reason plus con task. And because this is alien technology, it'll be difficulty 2. You do have 2 points of momentum at your disposal if you care to use them.
Okay, so that's a 13. I am going to do it cautiously, and I will use a point of momentum to buy an extra die 20.
Okay. I'll take it to 1 point of momentum left.
Yeah, which means if I need to, I can re-roll 1 dice by using my caution.
Okay. Cool.
So 3 dice. 1, 2,
Yes,
3. Ooh, a 2, a 10, and a 9.
All right.
And they're all successes, so I'm not going to bother re-rolling.
Okay. So you need it. So you get that 1 point of momentum back. As you sort of review the sensor logs from the Salvation 10 mission, it occurs to you that not only were the holograms highly advanced, probably much more advanced than even Starfleet's holographic technology, but they were indeed connected to some sort of telepathic interface. And it's not just that these were separate systems on this integrated into this artificial intelligence, that it was almost as if they were body parts being controlled by the same mind. All the technology aboard this craft was so integrated with this artificial intelligence that you almost marvel at it.
Wow. So considerably more advanced.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is like, you've heard of like an android like Data, who is so singular, and scientists in the Federation, no matter how much they try, can't seem to replicate the sort of magic that Data's neural net is. You don't think Data would even be capable of sort of operating this sort of technology as quickly and as effortlessly as this artificial intelligence was able to.
Wow. Okay, that's something to bear in mind if we come across it again.
Yeah, and also as you go through the sensor logs, you sort of look at the course that this ship set that brought it near the Starbase. It originates in the Paulson Nebula, which is not all that far away from the Starbase, but you can't find its point of entry into the nebula. It's almost as if it began its journey in the nebula, that it came from the nebula.
Interesting. That could be worth exploring. Okay.
Yeah, that's something for you to kind of tuck away.
I'll produce a report on this and send it to the other senior staff. Cool.
Anybody else care to do anything else on the Starbase?
I think I need to go over to that Klingon establishment, don't you think?
Yeah, it's called the Blood Wine A Go-Go, and it's on the
yes,
it's on the main concourse.
It's just across from Broca's establishment, of course.
If you're going to be listening to Klingon heavy metal, you probably want to take some earplugs.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Or it's like, what is it? Klingon alternative, like indie music. So like whatever is the Klingon alternative to, what's the group that did Cleopatra? So yeah, I guess I'm going to have to enter in there and try to speak with the proprietor of the establishment about a complaint.
Does anyone else care to go with him?
Be fun.
Klingon heavy metal. Are you kidding?
I would like to, but I got my ops. I gotta.
Yeah, I've got like sensor stuff to do.
I need to calibrate the weapon.
A lot of stuff.
So, Lieutenant Commander Holm, you go just by yourself, just to check out the Blood Wine A Go-Go, and the first thing you notice is just the sheer volume of this sort of discordant, aggressive, harsh music that just absolutely fills the joint. You also notice that it's kind of filthy, like your boots kind of stick to something on the floor. The lights are low, but you suspect if they were to bring up the lights, everything would just kind of be covered in grime and sticky and dusty.
It's a dive.
It is. It's a total dive. But you see that most of the clientele appears to be Klingon, and they appear to love this music. They're sort of, they all have chalices of blood wine that they're drinking. They're sort of playing like they're rowdy Klingon drinking games, kind of slugging each other in the arm. and just absolutely enjoying themselves, while up on the stage there is a band. It's a three-piece band fronted by this rather large Klingon woman, and she has two other side musicians with her who are Binars, who appear to be sort of linked telepathically, and they're maybe this isn't the sort of music for you, I don't know, but they are a very tight musical unit.
Yeah, it's interesting, say the least. I do have as a focus understands Klingon culture and all that, and a trait for me was, what is it? Lauded by Klingon, so I am used to this stuff.
Yeah, so this might be right up your alley.
Yeah, this basically was an assignment that basically, yeah, I had to get used to this. So yeah, I go up to the bar and try to strike up a conversation with the bartender.
Yeah, so there's this giant hulking older Klingon with sort of streaks of silver going down his hair, and you notice that one of his arms is actually kind of missing below the elbow, and he's got his sleeve is sort of rolled up and pinned, and he says, "What can I get you, Starfleeter?"
Oh, I basically then start talking to him in Klingon that I need to speak with the owner of the establishment.
Yeah, you get kind of like, he sort of throws his head back and you can see his teeth, and he laughs because you're speaking to him in Klingon. And he responds, "I'm the proprietor, Velthog the Thrasher."
Well, pleasure to meet you, Thelfrog. I continue speaking in Klingon to him. I basically was issued in a complaint about one of the bands playing here, the Dead Ferengis.
Ah, great.
I'm sure the music is great, but the name seems to have a sort of offensive connotations to some of the patrons on this starbase.
What is Klingon music if it's not provocative? Come on, this band slays.
Indeed, indeed. I mean, a whole genre of Klingon music is supposed to be provocative, as it's critical of certain high council houses and all that. But, of course, this is not Quonos, so certain things need to be made. Concessions, suffice to say.
May I ask who filed this complaint?
Grelka, the rival across from here.
He gets a huge belly laugh. He says, "I'm glad that I've gotten into his head. It is simply a business tactic."
I will warn you, though, is that is going to be a battlefield I hope you're ready for then, friend. The Ferengi are very, very cunning businessmen.
Ferengi may have the lobes for business, but do they have the teeth? And you see that his teeth are sort of filed down to sharp points.
Oh, I will assure you they do. When it comes to money, they are going to be very aggressive with that. Jokingly saying that to him.
He says, "What am I required to do to accommodate our Ferengi friend?"
Well, then I think it's more along the lines of having a sort of friendly rivalry. Letting Grelka know is that this is all part of business, not some sort of open way of expecting him to see his shop burn down.
That is simply all it is. Business is business.
Good to know. I'll let Grelka know and let you get back to running this establishment. Have a good day.
Thank you, Lieutenant Commander. He actually, before you leave, he offers you a free chalice of blood wine.
I guess it would be rude to, well, what is it? To refuse. So, of course, we'll drink it down and slam it on the table as it should be.
Yeah, you seem to, you get the sense that he is impressed that you can speak Klingon, that you can drink blood wine. He says, you are welcome in my establishment anytime, Lieutenant Commander Holm.
I'll see you again soon. So yeah, I guess we got that done, and just trying to make sure everything works fine in the concourse.
Yeah, it seems like you were able to keep this situation from escalating into something ugly, for the moment, at least.
There's always something that'll happen.
Yep. So at this point, all three of you, your communicators chirp, and you have been summoned to an urgent meeting in the Admiral's office.
And I guess we all get on the same turbo lift at different levels.
Yep.
And I'll see if I can put somebody other than that ensign in charge while I'm.
Yeah,
fact,
since you say
I'll
that
bring
out
the
loud,
ensign.
you see Ensign Crusher's face just drop.
Now we're bringing Crusher.
Yeah, I think we should bring Crusher. Yeah, let's see if the Admiral can make him piss his pants or something. That's...
So,
Okay.
Lieutenant Thelev, how was the assignment on the Griffin?
Very good, sir. Very, very good. I got on really well with the chief engineer. Well, kind of well. I'm sure that you or the Admiral will be hearing about it.
Word of the wise is always be careful how you approach them.
Yeah, if you know, if they're just dropping these duties on you, you can always say that you know, there's some things that I had you do, because there's always stuff to do around the Starbase as well. I pointed at the captain of the ship, decided he's going to start bossing you around. You're my guy.
I go where I'm told to go, sir.
Appreciate that. If you certainly working here, then working on some starship, giving them extra help they're not paying for, you know.
I'll be sure to check in with you next time, sir, if that's the way you want it.
Oh, I only if it's gonna, you know, hurt your feelings.
You know, just like a little bit of attitude here.
You can tell me. Absolutely.
So
you guys happen to hear what the Admiral, any ideas of what to be expected? Kind of strange. Looking at the time of day.
Yeah, it's getting actually pretty late. You guys have already gone through your you know, your standard duty shift, and so being summoned to a meeting at this time of day, at least on the Starbase, is unusual and probably an indication that it's something important.
Great. Well, I was planning on letting my my 5 o'clock shadow just grow, but well, I'm going to see the Admiral. I guess I'll have my sonic razor and fix that up on the way.
Cool. So yeah, you guys make your way into the office, the personal office of Fleet Admiral Bail Chithanis, who is an Andorian woman, and she ushers you into her office. And Lieutenant chSirch, you notice that she actually has all sorts of artifacts related to the Anar, the subrace of Andorians who are blind and have telepathic abilities. She's got like ice picks and things like that on display. Many of them that look, you know, quite old and rare. It's obviously something that she's been collecting over the years. But she invites you into your office, and she immediately cuts to the chase. She says, we've got a bit of a situation. There is a freighter approaching at maximum warp velocity. It appears to have suffered some kind of medical emergency. It's going to be here within minutes. We weren't able to get much from the official communication. But it seems like this vessel is going to be here in minutes, and it's going to need all sorts of help. Commander, I want you to take control of this situation and make sure we get as many people off that ship safely as possible.
Absolutely. Do we have a report? Do we have a report that's out there about their casualties and so forth? We can start looking at.
Nothing specific. We know from its transponder that this is the SS Meridian Dancer, that it is a freighter with a crew of 5 and enough room for up to 20 passengers.
All right, well, that'll work.
The ship suffered any damage at all?
It looks as if it's pushing its engines to the limit. It's currently traveling up above warp 6.3, which is pushing beyond this freighter's capabilities. And so it looks like a core breach is a possibility.
Well, we need to keep that. We need to stop them before they get too close to the station. All right, is the Griffin available to run some interference and make sure that they don't get too close?
The Griffin is still in dry dock until at least next Thursday,
Oh.
when its deflector dish can be fully installed.
Commander, if I may be so bold, I would suggest we alert medical that we are going to be having casualties on board.
That is a wise tactic. Do we have any our runabouts? Do we have runabouts prepared if we needed to get to them before they got to us?
Sure.
Yes,
I think
of
they
course.
go faster than warp 6.3.
I'd be prepared to. I'll be prepared to take a runabout out and rendezvous with them, see if I can do anything to help out with their engines.
That's good, and I will our medical officer and take another runabout. So, how about you? Do you have some petty officers that you can bring aboard then to assist you on the engineering side?
There's probably one or two. Yeah, I can bring along. I can put together a small engineering team that we can take with us.
Yeah, if you guys all wanted to create supporting cast members to go with you on the runabout, so you're all involved in the scene, that'd be fine.
Okay, cool. Well, I think this is going to be more along the lines we need an actual doctor, so I guess I'll roll up a doctor.
Cool. Okay, so supporting cast member. So you determined the purpose. It'll be a doctor. So you need to assign the character's attribute scores. The attributes will be 10, 9, 9, 8, 8, and 7. So 10, 9, 9, 8, 8, and 7.
Okay, cool.
And then the disciplines are 4, 3, 2, 2, 1, and 1.
Could you repeat the disciplines again?
4, 3, 2, 2, 1, and 1.
Got that going.
And then you can give the character up to 3 focuses, but I suggest kind of filling those in on the fly as the game, so the focus sort of can match a situation that comes up in the game. But if you've got a cool idea for a focus right now, feel free to fill that in too. And then give them a name and a race too. So we've got Lieutenant chSirch, who's going to be piloting the runabout. Who are our other two supporting cast members?
Is this on the medical? We had two runabouts going out there. One of them's with like a medical team and with an engineering team. Is this the medical?
I think we can fit the medical and engineering team together in the same runabout.
Yeah, you can fit them both in the same runabout.
Oh, I thought we would be beaming people aboard the runabouts to get them there faster if they're sick people.
Okay. Yep. Okay, that's fair. So two runabouts. Who will be? We'll have Lieutenant chSirch on the engineering runabout, and who will be?
And I can be on the medical.
Okay, and you'll be as Commander Stiles.
Yeah.
Okay, and then who will the doctor be?
I think the doctor is going to be with whoever's going to get there first. So I think that's the Jairus who's going to be there first.
Well, I mean, so the engineering team will be Lieutenant chSirch. So the doctor will be with the commander. I just want to know what the doctor's name and race is.
Oh, the doctor. Let us see. I need to get to a command generator. It's going to be human.
Okay.
And it is... Yes. Ooh, Stanislav.
Dr. Stanislav. Cool. Okay. Are there any preparations you guys would like to make before you jump in the runabouts and speed off to meet this freighter in distress?
Just pulling together some equipment from engineering. I've got two humans, both enlisted, a petty officer and a normal crewman.
Cool.
First two people I could grab.
Names?
I've got petty officer Cole.
Cool.
And crewman Dakota.
Cole and Dakota. Cool. Anything else?
That's about it. We're not going to take any heavy equipment, just whatever we can grab within 5 or 10 minutes.
All right, so you guys jump in these runabouts and start streaking off toward this freighter. So just to recap, you guys have 2 points of momentum at your disposal. I've got 6 points of threat, 2 for each player character. So as you guys race towards this freighter, whoever's in the lead, I would imagine probably the one with Commander Stiles aboard, is hailed by this freighter.
Good, I was just going to call them.
So
Starbase operations. This is Commander Stiles.
Yeah, so on your screen, this a Bajoran woman flashes on the screen, but you can see that her skin looks pale and mottled. You can sort of see these veins kind of spidering across her flesh. And she says, Starbase 23, we're in distress. We've got some sort of plague that has, I think it's killed most of our passengers. I'm the only one of my crew still able to function right now, and our engines are running hot, far beyond their specs. I don't think we've got a whole lot of time here, Starbase 23. We need help, desperately.
Well, this is Commander Stiles of the Starbase. We are en route on runabouts to get you there faster. Please cut your engines at these coordinates. We will then transport you in and get you taken care of.
Yeah, she says, we'll comply, Starbase 23. It looks like our engines are threatening to lose containment. Situation is desperate here. And then the message cuts out.
All right, well, let's see how fast these runabouts can go.
Yeah, so you guys are able to travel, much faster than this sort of old Antares class freighter. So you're able to sort of drop out of warp and get there in the nick of time, but you're going to have to act fast. How do you proceed?
I will instruct them to get their people in the same room. to beam up as soon as possible. I think what we can do is use the transporter, put them in mid-transport rather than materializing them with a potential plague on one of our runabouts, and then keep them in the transporter buffer until we get back to the... Sound good?
Well, we could just quarantine a section of the runabout with force fields and just let the medical staff handle that, Commander. I guess that's what Stanislav says.
And that's what who says?
Stanislav, the doctor on board the runabout with you, Commander Stiles.
Okay. He goes, okay. We'll prepare that immediately. We might not have time for that, so.
I think I've got a slightly different problem, Commander.
Let's do that. Does it look?
If I look to avoid a core breach, I'm going to have to beam on board.
Well, can you detect from where we're at right now whether or not that it can be prevented? I'd rather not lose a man to a freighter.
I can take a look, but I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to be able to tell through remote sensors. And the only way I might be able to prevent a core breach is to beam aboard.
Well, let's see what sensor readings we can get before we get into transporter range, and maybe that'll tell us more.
Yeah, go ahead and give me reason plus con, please, to do a sensor scan.
So reason plus con is 13. Am I getting assistance from the runabout?
Sure, but it's not going to be a whole lot. I think it's going to be like a 9. I think it's a 9 for most of those things. So
sounds about right.
But you get it. You get one success from the computer.
And I'm looking for 13. Oh, I get a 17 and a 1.
Hey, well done. So you generate another point of momentum. You now have 3.
Yep.
And you detect a couple of things. There's for one thing, there are several, or well, not several. There's more than a dozen what appear to be lifeless bodies. There are some intermittent life signs, both in the cockpit area of the freighter and in the passenger area, which is more to the aft. You also notice in the rear of the vessel, where you would suspect that the engineering would be, I'm going to spend 2 points of threat. And there is, because the engines are losing containment, there's a large radiation leak that's starting to spread throughout the vessel, and you realize that that's probably going to make transport more difficult. Not impossible, but more difficult.
Okay. Do I think I can do anything to prevent some sort of engine overload or core breach, given what I've got from sensors?
Yeah, you could go into engineering and try to reestablish containment of the engines, or you could eject the core completely. The danger with that is if with 3 vessels this nearby, if the core were to explode even after we're ejected, it could still damage any nearby vessels.
Okay, I think I need to go on board. I won't take the crewmen with me, just me. I'm not going to risk anybody else on this. But I think I need to go aboard and see if I can prevent this core breach. If I can't, I'll eject the core, but I'll try and give you as much warning as possible, Commander.
All right, well, I'll keep transporters locked on you.
Oh, would it be? Okay. Let's try this.
All right. The heroic lieutenant.
Nope. I'm just not letting anybody down. It is actually one of my values. If you give up, you die.
Awesome. Awesome.
Good.
So I'm not giving up.
Okay, well, first of all, you'll need to beam aboard the freighter, and you'll need to decide where you're beaming to.
Well, from what you said, it's going to be difficult beaming directly to engineering.
Yeah, so beaming directly into engineering is going to be a difficulty 2 task. Beaming somewhere further up the vessel, like towards the cockpit or towards the passenger or cargo area, will be difficulty 1.
But that means I might not get to engineering in time. Okay, I'm gonna. Oh, I can't use my caution because that's an engineering discipline, unless that applies to transporting as well.
I feel like this is not a situation for caution. Like I feel like you're sort of you're playing the action hero right now.
Yeah. Okay. I'll try and beam as close as I can to engineering. I'll go for the one success.
All right, so that would be kind of the midsection of the ship. This would be kind of in the area where you suspect there's probably cargo and passengers.
Okay.
So someone would probably, one of your supporting cast members will need to make a difficulty 1 task, and you can, because this is, you can use daring if you want, because this is a stressful situation, or control because you're trying to be as precise as possible. Otherwise, probably reason, whatever you want, plus con.
I think I'll go for the petty officer. I'll put him down as a control 10. And what's the discipline are we using? Engineering? Or
yeah, you can use engineering. I was gonna say con, but engineering is fine.
So he's 14 total then.
Okay, he'll need 1 success. You've got 3 points of momentum if you want it.
It's going to be important, so I'll buy an extra dice.
Okay, and alternatively, you can pay into threat as well to get extra dice.
Let's see how we go with 3 dice on a 14. Okay. 7, 7, and a 20.
Okay, so you get 2 successes. You beam aboard amidships into the passenger area. But that 20 creates a complication.
Yeah, I kind of thought it would.
So the transporter effect dissipates, and you see that you are in, there's sort of red alert buzzers going off. The deck is sort of rocking, and it looks like there's something like, maybe 18, 20 people could have been in this passenger section. It almost looks like sort of like a modern day airplane, like 2 rows of passenger seats with aisles between them. But it looks like nearly all of them are dead, except there is what looks to you to be a human child, maybe 10 years old, sort of sitting by himself and crying and shaking in fear. And the complication is there is an explosion that sort of rocks the entire vessel, and it will knock you prone for the moment.
Okay.
So what do you do, Lieutenant? As you are knocked off your feet, you realize behind you is the engine, and there's this human child in front of you crying amidst all these dead bodies.
I'm going to regret this. I'll take my comm badge off, put it on the child, tap it, contact the runabout, and tell them to lock onto my comm badge and want to beam over.
Awesome. That's so cool. Okay, I'll need someone to complete another transport task, difficulty 1.
Oh, and I'll tell them to try and keep a lock on me as well. I won't have any communications.
Yes. Okay. I think that will be on the medical ship. So.
Okay.
It will be daring and engineering?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Supporting characters can buy dice, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay,
You've got 3 points of momentum, or you can pay in the threat as well.
I'll spend the momentum, and let's see.
Okay.
Okay, I have 2 10s, and I needed to make it, and my DC was 10.
Can the commander transmit his sensor logs of the ship and assist somehow?
Yeah, you can assist on the transport if you like.
Okay.
He got the 2 successes, but you can still maybe generate a point of momentum if you like.
Would I roll for that?
So you'll roll 1d20, and because you're the commanding officer, I'll say that you're sort of presence plus command, and you're sort of overseeing him, telling him what part of the ship, or giving him some sort of clue, some sort of trick about how you can transport in these sort of high stress radiation situations.
Okay. Now behind this bulkhead is where you want to aim. A 6.
That sounds like a success, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So you generate another point of momentum, and this child appears on your transporter platform. This human child, sort of shaking in fear, and Lieutenant chSirch, the last thing you see is this child before he's sort of taken up in the transporter effect is maybe a small look of gratitude.
Okay, deep breath. Now I've got work to do.
Yeah, absolutely. What do you do now?
Okay. Can I figure out which way engineering is?
Yeah, so going toward the front of the ship will take you to the cockpit. Going to the rear of the ship will take you to where you assume the engineering would be.
Okay, I'll head that way as quick as I can.
Toward engineering?
Yep.
Cool. So yeah, the ship, the deck is sort of bucking beneath you as you work your way back, and you emerge into kind of a small, grimy engine room. This is definitely not up to Starfleet standards.
Okay. There's going to be some common stuff in here, though, so let's take a look, see if I can determine the state of the engines and the warp core.
Yeah, it doesn't take any sort of task for you to realize that it's lost containment, and so basically you've got two options. You can sort of attempt the more time-consuming task of reestablishing containment, which is going to risk this thing could blow at any moment, or you can eject the core and hope you get far away enough from it that when it explodes, it doesn't do any serious damage to anybody.
Yeah, we have a slight problem now. I can't warn anybody if I'm going to eject the core.
Nope, you just have to hope that they notice on their sensors.
Okay, I'm going to give re-establishing containment a try first. I don't want to go ejecting a core without telling anybody, or at least trying something else.
Cool. This is an extended task. I don't know if were you looking up the rules for this, Paul?
I can find them. Yeah.
No, I've got them right here. I thought you were kind of digging through your book or something, so maybe I.
No, I'm just looking to see if there's a way of coming back from being blown up by a warp core explosion.
Unlikely, but okay.
Hey, it's Star Trek. It happens.
Yeah, anything is possible in Star Trek. So on page 228, if you want to look it up, stabilize the reactor. This is an extended task with work 8, magnitude 3, resistance 2, and base difficulty of 3. So basically, the base difficulty of each task is going to be 3, and you need to get 3 breakthroughs to do it successfully. But every time you attempt a task, I'm going to roll some dice, and if the dice say something bad, then the thing explodes.
Okay. I could be burning through some momentum here, guys. Okay, so first time out.
So this is most likely going to be daring or control plus engineering.
It's going to be control plus engineering, which is going to be 15.
Okay. So this is the first time you do it. It's going to be a difficulty 3 task.
Okay. I'm going to be buying an extra dice then, I think.
Okay. You've got 3 points of momentum, or you can pay in a threat.
I'll go through the momentum first.
Okay. So you can buy the first one for 1 point of momentum. You can buy another one for those 2 other points of momentum.
This is not as easy as it looks, is it?
This is some serious stuff here.
It is some serious stuff. No, I'll stick with just buying the 1 extra dice.
Okay.
Okay. So we have a 4, 13, and a 5.
Okay. Those are the 3 successes you need.
Okay.
And none of those were criticals, right?
No.
Okay. So you got your 3 successes. So now you will roll your D6s, your challenge dice. You'll roll a number of them equal to 2 plus the discipline that you just used, your engineering discipline.
Okay, so that's 6.
Okay. You will roll a total of 6 D6s.
So we have a 4.
Okay.
Where are we? 4, 6, 5, 4, 5, and 5.
Okay, so that's a total of 4. And there's a resistance on this. Resistance 2. So that takes 2 off. So you basically took 2 points off your work track there. You need to get a total. Yes, you need to get 8. So the way you get a breakthrough, you need to get a total of 3 breakthroughs. The way you get a breakthrough is you take 5 points or more off the work track in a single task, or you get to the end of the work track and then continue to do more.
This is going to take too long.
This might take a while, but the good news is because you succeeded on that task, it now goes from difficulty 3 to difficulty 2 for the next time you roll.
Okay.
But I'm going to roll to see if the reactor explodes. If I roll a 5 or 6 on this D6, the reactor explodes.
I didn't quite see that. I'm guessing it was a 5 or a 6.
It was a blank. You're safe. For this, You get another shot.
I'm also going to use my untapped potential because I succeeded at a task after buying additional dice.
Okay.
I'm going to roll a die 6, and that actually gives me 2 bonus momentum.
Awesome. Okay, so now you have 4 points of momentum, and you can attempt the task again if you like.
Okay.
Get more than 1 dice.
Yeah. I've got to say I'm a little nervous now. Okay, let's try it again. I will spend 2 momentum this time, so 4 dice I'm going for.
Okay. It's now difficulty 2.
Okay.
Now during this long task, are we able to beam additional survivors off?
You can certainly try. Yeah, absolutely. So the radiation continues to spread throughout the ship as time goes on. So now it'll be a difficulty 2 task to get any other survivors off the ship. You'll probably need to attempt a sensor scan to locate any.
Okay. I'll ask the other runabout engineering team to scan as well, and we'll compare our notes. Hopefully we can get something.
Yeah, go ahead and attempt that sensor scan, and then we'll go back to the engine room. So I would say the sensor scan will be probably reason plus con, or maybe it could be control or daring or reason plus con.
Ugh. I got an 18 and 17, so no help there.
Okay, yeah, the radiation has grown too intense for you to really be able to peer inside and see where there might be other survivors. So we come back to the engine room where the lieutenant, I think, just got some good results, correct?
Yes, I did. A 5, a 7, a 1, and a 10.
Okay.
So that's 3 successes total because the ones are critical.
Oh, okay.
So that's my 2 success, which is great.
Plus a point of momentum.
Yep.
Okay. So now you'll...
And I've rolled my untapped potential again, so that's another 2 momentum.
Now you've got 5 total momentum, and you can roll your challenge dice, which is 2 plus your engineering discipline.
Okay, so 6 of those. So 6, 4, 5, 4, 6, 1.
Okay, so that's 4 again, and we'll take 2 off for the resistance. So now you're halfway through your work track, and I will roll to see if the engine explodes. So it looks like this engine is going to explode. I will allow your crewmates back on the runabout to attempt an emergency beam out, difficulty 2, to save you. But anyone else on the ship is probably going to perish in this explosion.
Wow.
Guys, please.
Okay, well then, I guess it's going to be the medical ship that's going to have to do this. It's going to be, this is daring and engineering, so a 10.
Okay, it's difficulty 2.
Uh-huh.
The ship can assist if you like, and the commander can assist as well.
They can assist. I am going to be buying threat, so we'll make it 40-10.
Oh, you've got 5 momentum, so you don't need to pay into threat.
Okay. I'll 2 extra dice is going to be 3 momentum, yeah?
Correct, yep.
Cool.
The ship did not help, but the commander might be able to.
I know you're not going to like this, but I rolled a 20, so.
Okay. So it's all up to the doctor running the transporter right now.
I'm sorry. 4, 6, 13, 8, and the DC was 10. So 3
4.
successes.
Okay, so you needed 2. So literally milliseconds before this freighter explodes, Lieutenant chSirch feels the transporter effect envelop him. And he sort of brings up his hands thinking that it's all over, that this ship is going to explode in his face. And he materializes on the transporter platform of this runabout.
Does anybody have a change of uniform?
But you realize that you guys are all within close range of this exploding freighter. So the ship explodes in brilliant colors of orange and red. The deck buckles beneath you, and I will roll to find out what happens after we take a quick break.
Whew.
So don't go anywhere, y'all.
Exciting.
I'm glad you didn't die, Paul, because that was really heroic of what you did to save that kid.
I'm actually glad I didn't die either. I'm getting to like the character.
Well, you would have not have been a lieutenant if you died. You would have gotten a 2-rank promotion.
Yeah, that helps a little.
I'm going to go to the bathroom, fill up my water, and then I'm going to roll to see what kind of damage this exploding ship does, right? So back in like 5 minutes?
Yep. More importantly, we don't have our shields up.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
we'll
because
see,
of
guys.
the transporter.
Yep, you guys beam me out. No shields.
Okay, I'm back. Are you guys?
Yep.
Okay.
I'm back.
So, heroic Lieutenant chSirch, I'm sorry, takes his comm badge off and places on the scared child who appears to be alone among a multitude of corpses, beams the child to safety, goes back to the rear of the vessel, tries to avert a loss of total containment and a warp core breach. Is unsuccessful, but his buddies on the runabout are able to beam him out at the very last moment. The ship explodes. The freighter explodes. You guys do not have your shields up. It causes some serious structural damage to your ship, and it causes a breach to your vessel. So the rules say that I need to select one of you randomly. So
all this effort to save you, Thelev, and you died.
Commander Stiles, as the vessel buckles, the deck buckles underneath you, you slam your head into one of the panels, and you now have the injured quality, which means you are no longer able to complete tasks until you receive medical attention.
Well, cool. Since I was on the ship that actually had shields, did I do something where I kind of got in the way of the explosion to protect the unshielded ship?
Oh, you were on the medical vessel, right? That beamed aboard Lieutenant chSirch.
Yeah.
Which didn't have its shields up, correct?
Yeah, because we had to beam him up.
Okay, so it wasn't the engineering ship. Okay, no, that works fine then.
Yep. And I need to see. The vessel suffers fires and or minor hull breaches somewhere on the ship, forcing the area to be evacuated and sealed off. This makes it more problematic to reach parts of the ship in need of repair, increasing the complication range. This also reduces the ship's resistance. Okay, the difficulty to repair your ship is 3.
It's a runabout. The whole ship is compromised.
It's pretty heavily damaged. Let me kind of set the scene. You've got Commander Stiles, who's now suffering from some kind of injury because of the ship was buckled. You've got the scared child who's just beamed aboard and survived some sort of problematic encounter on the freighter. And now you've got a doctor and now Lieutenant chSirch, who thought he was a goner, but is now standing on the transporter pad just before the ship is rocked by this violent explosion. So you've got alarms shrieking all over the runabout. There's maybe some fires springing up from some of the consoles. What do you do?
Well, since that's the runabout I'm on, I guess I'd better try and fix some of this, since it's my fault.
Yeah, so that will be...
I'll go for a bit of damage control.
Okay.
Difficulty 3, it'll be daring plus engineering in a crisis situation.
So that's 12 in total. Difficulty 3, we've got some spare momentum, haven't we?
Yes, you still got 2 points of momentum that you have not used from after the emergency transport.
Okay, I'll buy one dice.
I can assist here in trying to put out some of the fires.
Okay, cool. So if you want to
here.
give me a daring plus engineering task as well.
Yep, I need to beat a 10 and nope, 19.
Okay.
I just start screaming because I think Stanislav is just a grumpy old Czech who just is not qualified to fix stuff on a ship. He can fix people, and now he's just having to deal with this.
In that case, I'm definitely buying that extra dice.
Okay.
So 3 dice. Ooh. 19, 12, 12.
The 19 would not succeed, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so the ship is still heavily damaged. Commander Stiles is still on the deck. And Dr. Stanislav, you sort of try to put out some of these fires, but you end up kind of burning yourself, not doing any serious harm to you, but not really solving the problem either.
Yeah, he's just cursing.
How bad is the ship? Is it salvageable?
It's salvageable. You're going to have to wait for someone to come and get you. It's not like you're in like immediate danger of the ship. But you're not going anywhere for a little while.
Yeah, we need to get this lot under control, but we're not going to blow up any second because been there, done that.
That would be terrible if it was 2 ships that were gone when we get back.
Yeah, I might have some explaining to do to the Admiral.
Well, at least you brought back someone. If you excuse me, I gotta go and attend to the commander.
That would be nice.
Yeah, let me look up.
Well, at least
I think it's
at least the baby's with the medics.
Combat 169. Sorry for looking up all these rules, but it is a new system. Well, okay, so here's an option. If you like Commander Stiles, you can avoid an injury either by using 1 point of your determination, which you all have, or by you could spend some combination of threat and momentum. You've got 1 point of momentum, and you could pay into threat to avoid it, or you can wait for the doctor to give you first aid. It's up to you.
Well, I think the most critical part probably has ended, so I think standard first aid will be just fine.
Okay, so this will be control plus medicine with difficulty 2. Yes. Control plus medicine with difficulty of 2, Dr. Stanislav.
Eggs.
I am going to spend a momentum, and it's going to be 3d20s. I need to beat a 13.
That's your last point of momentum.
Good news is I got a 1, 10, and 5, so I got 3 successes.
Okay, so you generate that point of momentum back, and you are able. Describe for me how you're able to bring the commander back to consciousness.
Well, of course, I give him a shot of morphine, which makes him very, very in a good mood. And look at his wounds and be like, okay, this isn't very serious. Why are you trying to sleep on the job here? It's always a cantankerous old check.
I always feel more awake after morphine, thanks.
My bad. So there's a light-hearted moment as the commander is able to be brought back to consciousness, but it appears you guys are stuck here for at least some length of time until the Starbase can send another runabout or another starship to come and bring you back. What do you do in the interim?
Well, I thought we had 2 runabouts over here, one with the
yeah, they both
engineers
suffered. They're both in about the same sort of shape.
Oh, okay. I will send a communication back to Starbase, let him know what occurred, and I'll I don't know. Do we need to transfer anybody from one ship to the other? Can we even do that? Do we even have transporters to do that? Maybe we don't.
Because the repairs were unsuccessful, I'm going to say probably not.
We did contain the fire, right?
More or less, yeah.
Yeah, working on that.
Life support's not about to give out. The ship isn't about to blow up, but most of the systems are inoperable right now.
Can I guess I'll make sure that the medics will look closer at that child. I think we're going to use a force field to try to keep us protected from any kind of plague that the little baby might have. But I'm assuming that's not working right now. So maybe they could use some of their medical stuff. And
You're going to be asking me to
any
try to
danger.
do medicine without
That's
any
a
sort of
terrific
line
point.
amenities.
Commander Stiles, that's a terrific point. I'm going to spend 2 more points of threat. The quarantine field that you guys had set up to keep this 10-year-old child kind of away from you has buckled. So I'm going to create another complication called exposed to virus ? Maybe you've been exposed to something really nasty. Sure yet.
Yeah, I'm going to have a lot of explaining to do to the Admiral.
Yes, why we have the space chicken pox.
The space chicken pots?
It's a joke out of character. So, well, let's see what I can do. I still have a medical tricorder here. What can I do to identify the virus on the kid or see if he's clean?
Well, why don't you give me probably reason plus medicine task, difficulty 2.
Okay, I am going to go and roll 2d10, 2d20. All right. Only 1. And this is very serious. It seems to be, oh, this is bad. This ain't some sort of virus that's on Starfleet database.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely a virus of some kind, but yeah, you don't recognize it in the database. It's something foreign to Federation medical expertise. And yeah, that's about all you can tell right now. Obviously, you're in a crisis situation. You don't have access to all the equipment you would have in the medical bay of the Starbase. So yeah, that's about as much as you're able to glean right now. But at the moment, the child, he shivers. He says, I'm cold.
Well, I guess I'll try to go to one of the compartments in the runabout and see if we have like a thermal blanket or survival kit thing.
Yep,
Got the
absolutely.
kit on it.
Yep, that stuff's intact.
Good, nothing else didn't get destroyed by the fire.
Yeah, the child says, thank you. And then he looks at Lieutenant chSirch and he says, you saved my life.
Yeah, just don't tell everybody because I'm already in enough trouble with the Admiral.
Well, yeah, he says, well, I'm glad you did it.
Me too.
I hope you are too.
Me too. Let the doctor take care of you. I'll come and see you when we get back to the station.
We probably need to treat you for radiation wounds.
Oh yes, let me get the let's see here. I get a shot ready for him to just handle with the radiation because I assume we have that stuff and it's not something that's going to need to be a check.
Yeah, that's basic first aid sort of medicine, and it'd be like control plus medicine with difficulty 1, just to stop kind of the radiation poisoning.
A 9. I think the 1 is a critical success, so.
Yep. So you get 3 successes?
Yep.
Okay, so that generates 2 points of momentum. You now have a total of 3. And yeah, it looks like the child, you're unable to determine exactly what sort of virus he may be carrying, or if he's carrying, he's carrying a virus. You're not able to identify it, but you are able to treat kind of the first aid issues that he might have suffered.
Yeah, and also get Thel his radiation hypos.
You roll for it. Yeah, you guys seem to be, fairly stabilized, other than the fact that you may or may not have been exposed to this raging alien virus.
Mm-hmm. Well then, Commander, if I were you, I would start asking the kid when this whole incident occurred so we could have an idea of how fast this virus works.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see what if the kid's got some knowledge for us.
Well, what do you want to know?
When did people start getting sick?
I thought maybe I could contain it. I thought maybe I could get away long enough to find some place where I wasn't going to be a problem for people. That's why I was on the freighter, but I couldn't control it, and it happened sooner than I thought it would.
What happened?
And people started getting sick. He was born on a colony world called Versidex. Everyone in the colony would receive these regular treatments for stuff in the soil. They said it was toxic, but one day the entire colony just sort of disappeared, and it was replaced by like a cell, like this tiny little cell. And I realized I'd been living in a holographic simulation, that the colony hadn't really been real, that I was just like an experiment for these people, whoever they were. Anyway, some lady must have liked me, and she rushed me. She rushed me into this torpedo, this little tiny tube, and I spent, I don't know, maybe days in this tube, and then I emerged. I came out, and there's these people on a ship, and they took me in, and it was fine for a while, for several months, but then they got sick, and I knew it was me because I didn't get sick. Got on that freighter. I was trying to get away.
Have you ever been sick before?
No, I've never been sick. Come to think of it, I've literally never had as much as a cold.
Yeah, I think I corroborate this by telling the commander his vital signs are very much excellent.
Well, interesting. Well, can you tell if he's carrying anything? Where you said there is a virus, he's not sure what kind it might be.
Yeah, he wasn't able to identify it with his medical tricorder.
It's not within the database in the tricorder at all, Commander. The kid mentioned a colony. Is that a Federation colony? Can I look that up? With what works with the computer?
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead. I mean, this would just be like difficulty 0, like reason plus con, as you consult the computer database.
Okay, both 13s. I needed 11.
Okay, well, the computer's been damaged.
It got broke.
Yeah, the computer was corrupted in the explosion as well.
Thank God. At least we still have life support on this. Stanislav looks very, very much annoyed at this.
Hey, what's your name, kid?
Marin? They always called me Marin on the colony, but since none of them were real, I guess I don't know if that's my real name.
Since we couldn't look it up, do any of us have any personal experience with this plant that he mentioned? Or have I heard of it,
no.
while I was, in my civilian life?
Yeah, I mean, you guys are all like experienced, starfarers. You guys have all been in Starfleet for a while, traveled some great distances. None of you have ever heard of Versidex.
Well, Marin, I'm really glad we were able to help you out there. You're human. Was everybody who got sick human as well?
Everyone from the colony was human.
And you said that most of the colonists were holographic at some point?
Yeah, it was like I woke up in a cell. And some lady, she helped me out. She said that, you know, the experiment was hurting me, and so she put me in this tube.
Well, I'm glad that we were able to help you out, so your journey didn't just come to an end.
Well, me too. I hope I'm not going to get you guys sick too.
Well, these Federation medics are very skilled. I think we'll be able to keep you from transmitting if that's what's really happening.
Is there anything else that you guys want to do before we cut scenes and someone comes and picks you up?
Yeah, is there anything more we need to learn from Marin?
If you got more questions for him, shoot.
Did you guys have anything?
I'm too busy firefighting, literally.
Okay.
Yes, the firefighting extinguishing equipment isn't working either. So you're grabbing a space blanket and trying to put it out that way.
Yep. Yeah, I guess the only other questions I'd have for Marin is, you know, what kind of coming down with, and maybe if he knows if there was anything already tried that didn't that wasn't helpful, so we can cross those off the list when we have the medics take a look.
Well, no, not really. People, their skin would just get really pale, and then they'd get these weird lines on their skin, and then it's like they just sort of can't breathe anymore. Like they just can't catch their breath enough. It happens really fast. I don't like to think about it.
When you say really fast, do you mean days?
Yeah, a matter of days.
Okay. Do any of us have any memory of any kind of similar symptoms with the spidery web thing? Spidery veins or whatever?
You could make like maybe a difficulty 3 science or medicine plus reason.
That seems unlikely.
Got a 1 and a 3, so 3 successes.
Okay. Yeah, so you suspect, despite the fact that you don't have any, tricorder data to back this up, the fact that this kid is shedding some sort of strange unknown virus but doesn't seem to ever suffer any of the consequences leads you to believe that there's some sort of biological engineering going on here.
Did the kid ever explain what the woman looked like?
Yeah, she looked pretty normal, I guess. She had some pointed ears and dark hair.
Did you catch the name, Marion?
No, she didn't give me a name. She just said she didn't want to see me get hurt anymore.
Well, Commander, I believe this kid was a subject of a Romulan biological weapon program.
Interesting. Well, I wonder if our new Romulan cargo freighter pilot, who has suddenly lost her Romulan citizenship, has to do with this.
You met with someone?
There's a new freighter pilot who happens to be Romulan. And
would you describe her to the child, Commander?
Well, sure. I mean, obviously, she looks like looks like what the child has already described, but I'll give whatever additional specifics and details I can and see if
mannerisms, all that.
Yes. Whatever I can explain to see if this, there's especially if there's some kind of distinguishing marks that would distinguish her from other Romulans. Did she have little bumps on her head? That would be Romulan. If she doesn't, then I guess that would be Vulcan.
Yeah, she's old school Romulan.
Kind of. She had kind of a bumpy head.
Can I give her any other, or can I give the child any other details or ask any additional questions? I don't remember just hearing her described, so I don't. My character probably knows stuff.
Yeah, I mean, maybe you could start describing things that weren't even mentioned yet.
I mean, I didn't see her for very long. She just rushed me into this tube and sent me off. I don't really remember all that well.
And you are. Well, we have our sensors. Can we? We have our tricorders. Can we confirm that if this boy is indeed human, or whether he might be something else?
Yeah. He looks to be, other than the fact that he's shedding this unknown virus, a 10-year-old human boy in peak health.
More importantly, if this is the lady you gave the trade treaty to, it means we might not be expecting a runabout soon.
What do you mean?
She would have been surprised with the destruction of that ship too, and probably is going to try to intervene.
I don't know if she can do that from drug dock. I think she's still expecting to get a permit and such. But you're right. She might. The explosion. Did we have enough communications that we were able to send a message?
Yeah.
Well, if she's an amazing kind of individual, I guess it's possible that she'll get here before our people, but I like to think our recovery team will be here first.
Mm-hmm. Well, I hope so.
I think that's all the questions I had for, so I guess we can move on.
Yes. How's the fire going, Lieutenant?
Have I managed to get everything out at the moment and at least stop the ship from falling apart?
Great. Well, I guess we're all infected. It's quarantine for us.
Yeah, so there's sort of an uncomfortable silence that falls over the cabin of the runabout because there's really nothing left for you guys to do. The fires have been put out. You can't really advance the repairs anymore. So you've just kind of got, and you're sort of worried that maybe this Romulan freighter captain is out there somewhere thinking maybe she can come get you. And so it's sort of uncomfortable as you guys just can't do much but wait. But eventually 2 more Federation Starfleet runabouts arrive. And they beam you guys aboard, but behind a quarantine field, and they take you back to the Starbase as quickly as they can, and then they're going to circle back to get those 2 damaged runabouts and tractor beams. But the top priority is getting you guys and the child that you rescued, Marin, back to the Starbase, so you guys can get into the sick bay and presumably get medical help if you need it.
Yep. I'd be especially interested as to whether this virus affects only humans.
Well, you had a Bajoran who was also infected, so I assume that it will affect all other races, not just humans.
Yeah, I was afraid of that. Okay, so we're going to be in quarantine for a little while, I guess.
Yep.
Do we have
I guess the medical office has been quarantined.
Yep.
Do Do we have any of the sensor data from the damaged runabouts? I think we did some. I think there is one piece of information that'd be helpful. Of course, when we transported the child, the biofilters may have, you know, detected some things that can pass along that information to our medical teams.
Yeah, that's a good point. Absolutely. You can look at that information if you want. It'll probably take a task to decipher it.
Cool. That's something I might actually be able to do.
Oh.
Yeah, so I would say that you know, basically the medical bay of the Starbase, they've sort of set off you know, several labs, maybe in some office space that's basically behind a quarantine field. So despite the fact that you guys may have been exposed, you can still get some work done as long as, you know, this virus doesn't debilitate you.
Yeah, I'd like to spend a little time just going back over what I recall of the engine room and the warp core problems. I want to try and just think whether its structural breach was deliberate or whether it was some kind of an accident, because I'm kind of suspicious here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Did somebody place this child on board the freighter and then cause the warp core breach so that we would come out and rescue the child?
Everything that you saw was consistent with an old type freighter just pushing its engines too hot for too long.
Okay. So I don't believe that the warp core breach was deliberate in any way.
No, I think
you have no reason to think that.
Okay, just being suspicious.
Yeah, I like that.
I think the doctor finally is now in his element with the actual working stuff.
Yep.
And just doesn't have to rely on a tricorder. So, hey, time to go into a much better database than a stupid tricorder. Let's go here. What's the difficulty?
So what are you trying to ascertain?
Trying to at least study the virus and all that. We know it's man-made.
In you guys.
Yeah.
Which, in Marin or in you guys?
I guess on Marin would be the best because he's the originator.
Cool, yeah. Yep, give me a reason plus medicine task, difficulty 3.
Going to spend a momentum, and I guess this is going to be me saying with a focus of, I can declare a focus now, right?
Yep, absolutely.
Basically, medical labs is where it's my element. Really do not like being dragged out to do away missions.
Okay. Comfortable in your med lab, absolutely.
And I'm spending momentum to gain an extra dice, so 3d20.
Okay, and you can, I mean, you can buy more. You've got 2 points of momentum to get another one, or you could.
Oh, yeah, I'm spending more. 4d20s.
Okay. Okay. So that's all your momentum for the moment.
Okay, I have 3 successes, 8, 10, 4. I needed...
You need 3,
I
so you got it.
4, and this was a focus, so I'm glad I declared a focus. So I got a critical.
Okay, so you get a point of momentum back. You got 4 successes then?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So you get a point of momentum back, and you make some important discoveries as you finally got access to quality medical equipment and some time to work with Marin. And you realize that he's not just shedding one virus, he's shedding dozens, scores of different sorts of viruses that have all been biologically engineered. And he also he appears to have what must be biologically engineered as well, because it's so perfect. He has a he has a biology that is impervious to all these pathogens. So you get the sense that not only is he a carrier for these viruses, but he is immune to them. You also, because you scored so well on this roll, you ascertain that he is a clone.
Great. I'm going to relay that both to Lieutenant and Commander.
Well, it makes sense the Romulans would use clones, but I think we have some Federation groups that do cloning as well. Wonder if we can check out his genetic material and see who he's the clone of. Maybe there's somebody, you know, captured by Romulans or disappeared or something like that that we can.
You just want to check
Use as
his DNA? I think that'll just be easy with the Starfleet databases we have.
Yeah.
Well, there's a concern as well. If he's a clone, that implies there's more than one.
Yes.
And the question is, where are the others? Where are they being sent?
This was not an isolated incident, and if this was a facility, there's going to be a lot more of this.
That would be my guess.
Yes. So, am I able to try to develop some sort of vaccine or cure for this at the moment?
Yeah. So generally, in this day and age, curing viruses is not a super difficult proposition. The problem is these viruses are totally foreign to you. So you will need to basically sequence the genomes of every single one of these viruses and all the various systems of Marin's body, and that's going to require some work.
It's going to take a long while.
Yeah, it might take you some time.
Yep. You just see Stanislav like sit down in a chair looking like this is not how he wanted to spend his day.
And you guys also start to notice some discolorations in your skin. You're starting to feel a little under the weather as well.
Yeah, I think we also need to let the Admiral know, because this is going to be something that is a potential threat to the Federation as a whole.
Yeah, and I think we need. I don't know if I don't know what steps to do first, but I assume we want to communicate with the other nearby star bases. I mean, for all we know, this cloning could be something where they've Federation and there's a freighter at every star base doing this same shtick. Be a pretty.
I suggest we just start doing a report, send it to the Admiral, because the Admiral is going to have a lot of questions about why a freighter exploded.
Can we not include that in the report?
Might come up.
Okay. Can we just focus on the kid first?
I'm trying to, but it's going to take a long while to sequence the genome. Unless we had someone that had a copy of it.
We know what the kid looks like, so there should be some sort of alert go out. I guess certainly to the rest of the starbase and certainly other star bases in the area, just in case anybody else comes across a similar child, because that child could also be infected. In fact, it's probably going to be.
The problem is, though, is when they see the child, it's already too late.
Yeah, but we've got to tell them something.
I know. I think we can. I think freighters could transmit pictures. I'm sure we can be like, "Do you have anybody like this?" Yeah. Why don't you guys not come on board? You know, that sort of thing.
So, yes, I'm gonna get to work sequencing the genome and all that. It'll take forever. You're just gonna hear muttering in check.
I'll prepare whatever report I can for the Admiral on the freighter. Kind of emphasizing how heroic I was.
Yeah, absolutely. So the Admiral will. She comes down to the med bay, and so she's sort of like on the other side of this quarantine field, and she's getting the debrief from you. And she says, Well, it appears we're in a diplomatic hot mess. I think that's the best term I can think of for it. What happened out there? What? Tell me who this boy is.
Well, he appears to be a clone, a genetically engineered clone who's immune to a variety of specialty viruses that was probably engineered by Romulan agents. And he's kind of, I think he's being dropped off either as a to save the boy from additional scientific research and the problems that might cause, that might hurt the child, or they're dropped in our lap to spread the virus to whatever command staff just happens to be out there. We've been exposed, and this might slow down our Starbase operations.
Well, I will, of course, have to relay all this back to Starfleet Command. This is a decision that's above any of our pay grades on how to proceed, especially if this is indeed some sort of Romulan biological weapon.
Yeah, how they can, other people can identify them. We send pictures, but they have as good a technology of plastic surgery kind of things than as we do. Then the other clones could look totally different.
Well, they could, but I think for the moment, it's a reasonable assumption that they're going to be looking the same. It's all we've got to go on. Otherwise, we're just putting out an alert for any young child.
I think an alert would be dangerous as it will tip our hands to the Romulans.
You think the Romulans would be so nefarious to be actually cloning humans?
Yep. I wouldn't put anything past the Romulans.
Stanislav just shrugs as he just goes back to typing on the L cards.
Well, you brought back very disturbing news. I'll have to report back to Starfleet Command immediately. I know that lives were lost on that freighter, but I know that you all did everything you could. And if this is indeed some sort of new Romulan threat, it's better that Starfleet knows about it.
Yep. Yeah, I have a conversation I need to have, an unpleasant one, with a Romulan freighter pilot who just happens to be around at the same time as this person. So I'll see if she has anything that can add to our knowledge base.
Well, for now, you just stay on the other side of that quarantine field and take care of yourself.
I have a confession to make to the Admiral.
Yes, Lieutenant.
I think I made the wrong decision.
You can tell that she's maybe a little bit surprised that the junior officer in this conversation is speaking directly to her.
I think I made the wrong decision, Admiral. I tried to save the freighter, when what I really should have done was just jettison the warp core. That would have saved the freighter, not what I did.
You don't know that it would have saved the freighter. That warp core was going to blow up at any time. If it would have blown up immediately after you jettisoned it, it would have done the exact same damage. You did what a Starfleet officer does, and that's you risked your life to save others.
Okay, I'll take that.
Starfleet doesn't lie, Lieutenant.
Thank you, Admiral.
And she turns on her heel and walks away, presumably to get on the horn with Starfleet Command. So what is next, guys? You have been infected with some sort of engineered virus, and it's going to kind of be a race against the clock to figure out how to heal yourselves.
I'll do whatever I can to help the doctor. It's not much.
Well, unless you can give me 13 Starbases worth of computing power, that's not going to be much help, is it?
It might take a while to build that.
Time is not a luxury we have.
Well, you're the doctor. No pressure.
Yeah.
I'd like. I know that you guys are going to be better at the medical and the engineering side of this, but I think I need to prepare some sort of kind of list of pictures of various people fitting the description that Marin mentioned, and include amongst them the freighter pilot, and see if he picks her out. What do you guys think?
Well, I guess we can just have security try to find something on the other side, because, well, we're in quarantine. They're not.
I think it's
I think I can probably come up with an Excel document that I can send through the quarantine.
Sure.
Send an attachment.
I think it's suspicious that you have a Romulan freighter captain pushing for a license at the same time that we come across a potential Romulan threat.
I mean, ideally, she's the one who helped the boy escape and did so for a good purpose, and happens to know all about the genome structure of these dozen viruses.
That would so make this go faster.
So how do you think we should? How do you think we should approach that? Because the worst case scenario is that she invented the virus. She's a spy, and whatever she does is going to encourage additional problems.
The worst case scenario is we die.
Boy, for a doctor, you're really on the up, aren't you? Worst case scenario, we die. Okay.
Well, we can be put in stasis. At some
the way I'm
point.
thinking of this is, she may be associated with the boy. She could either be the woman that helped him escape, or she could be Tal Shiar, and she's here to monitor the progress of the virus once it hits the starbase. Either way, she's useful.
Then we need to ask the boy if the one who helped her, if the Romulan who helped him actually was wearing a biosuit. Be interesting. It doesn't affect Romulans. Do we know if that's a?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Can we tell whether the viruses will be effective against Romulans?
It would be a wise and particularly Romulan precaution for these viruses to not impact a Romulan genome.
So it makes reasonable sense, but do we have evidence that that is indeed the case?
It would require some testing.
Or just throw a Vulcan in here.
There might be ethical concerns with that.
There might be, and the Romulans might not have a problem coming up with a virus that hurts Vulcans and hurt Romulans.
Yes. Well then, how are we going to get in contact with the freighter captain?
Well, I think we might need to rely on Commander. Now, was Commander Holm on any of the runabouts, or is he back on the Starbase?
That's a good question. Miguel?
I think he was back on the Starbase. This is
Okay.
not like a sort of a very pressing security measure, but more along the lines of a humanitarian thing. So, like, caution wasn't needed in that sort of regard.
Yeah, that's fine with me.
Well, I think he, as chief of security and probably the highest ranking person besides myself, but Starbase is probably going to have to do some of the. I guess I'll trip on over to his communicator. Commander Holm. This is the
Yes,
commander.
Commander Stiles?
I am going to send you a pad worth of information, and I really need your assistance on the security matter.
Understood. I guess I get out the pad and start looking at all the information being sent.
And I will, have things nice, paranoia encrypted there, and essentially, we have to find out if this person, based on what she's given us, is in fact somebody we can go to with questions about how to save us. She might be the only one who knows any information. And then again, she might have nothing to do with anything. So we have to see.
Well, then I guess I'll get on the double. I guess I'm going to need to grab 2 enlisted men to help. So I guess those will be the supporting characters you guys can play. So it's not just me. And I guess we'll do the side plot story as basically I'm going to be heading up to the freighter to talk to Cassia.
Yeah, Cassia. So, yep, Cassia. She is aboard the Apnex. Her freighter is called the Apnex Lightning. And yes, they are still, you consult the library computer and the vessel is still docked with the Starbase.
Okay, interesting. Let me see. Can I roll to identify the ship further?
What do you want to
know? Basically, where it was manufactured in, all of that. Any sort of special modifications that are common with this sort of type of ship?
You don't really need to roll for it. This is not all that different from the Antares class freighter that you guys just visited. These are really common kind of workhorse type vessels. They don't have a very high maximum speed, but they've got pretty good cargo holds. They can be reconfigured in various ways for more cargo or for more passengers, more creature comforts. But they're sort of just kind of standard workhorses of deep space flight.
Cool. So I guess I'm going to ask to be able to come in because I need to have a meeting with the captain of the ship.
Yeah, so the airlock, kind of swings open, and this Romulan woman is standing on the other side of the threshold, and she says, "Has Commander Stiles approved my permit yet? I hope you've got good news for me."
Commander Stiles has asked me to inspect the ship, make sure everything is fine, Captain.
Inspect my ship? I think you'll need some kind of warrant, some kind of documentation. What's the meaning of this?
More along the lines of, basically, I start describing various things. There is actually a Federation standard where the warrant is implied to be given if you're docked on Starfleet. It's regulations, all that. But I drop the name of Miriam and try to gauge her reaction with that.
She instantly perks up. What did you say?
Miriam. You seem to be familiar with that name.
Maybe.
Let me see here. I have espionage as a focus.
Okay.
Is there any way I can try to do a sort of figure out if she is a sort of spy or high-ranking spy thing?
Yeah, how about like a presence? I would say this is security because you're sort of kind of sizing her up as like a security breach or something along those lines. So presence plus security. And this will be difficulty 2.
Okay, I'm going to spend...
you have 1 point of momentum left.
Yeah, and I'm going to do a threat here because we need to start doing that. And I'm going to get... This is espionage, so it's a focus, but I want to do it with 40/20s because this is important.
Okay.
And let's
So
see
give
what
me
we get.
that.
My presence and security makes it 14, and I got 1, 2, 3 successes. 5 and a 2. My discipline is a 5 for security, so 2 criticals.
So how many total successes?
Let's see here. 2 criticals makes it 2 successes, and then a third, so 5 successes in total.
Okay. Cool. So you get 3 points of momentum. That brings you up to 4. And you see nothing that would lead you to believe that she is trained in spycraft, but you are certain that the mention of the name Marin got some sort of reaction of familiarity from her.
So you basically had to leave Romulan space. I take it that Marin is the reason, Captain?
Listen, if you've got Marin, you need to let me see him. If you don't turn him over to me, he's going to die, and probably a lot of other people are going to die as well. And that's where we will end it for tonight.
To be continued.
Yes, to be continued.
Awesome.
And we're all still alive.
Yeah, that's barely.
Barely.
Yeah.
But,
Cool,
you know,
man.
it's a win.
Yes.
Hey, you saved the life. I think that's the Federation thing.
The big thing about command is it's always a snap decision. You made the snap decision, even though it didn't end up well. You had to make it. You pass your Kobayashi Maru.
There we go. That's perfect.
I was trying to play to the character's value, the you don't give up. But
yeah, that was awesome. I thought it was a great decision. I thought the mechanics of the game gave it some drama. That was fun. That was a real highlight of the session. I'm glad you did that.
For me, it was actually pretty tense. I really thought the character was going to die at that point.
I was worried. I didn't want you to.
Yeah, I mean, when you had this sort of extended task, I'm like, okay, this is it. This is where the fun comes in.
Yeah. I had to try to save the freighter, but yeah.
You had to save the freighter to save the rest of them. We were only able to bring up one person.
Yep. I'm glad it was me.
Well, cool, guys. I'm going to stop the broadcast.
Okay.